How to set up handy shortcuts. This video will focus on making shortcuts easy to memorize and easy to press. Before we get started, let's recall how traditional shortcuts are set up. Traditional shortcut keys were typically formulated by condensing commands into relevant letters or symbols, aiding in memory retention. However, because keywords often point to the same letter, this isn't always effective. For shortcuts with similar functionalities, the key configurations can also be inconsistent. Additionally, shortcut keys with similar functions are often scattered across the keyboard. Gathering them into small groups and arranging them in a compact keyboard area not only facilitates memorization but also reduces the difficulty of keystrokes. Floating panels can further reduce the burden of memorization. Furthermore, about standardizing shortcut keys across different apps. For example, the apps demonstrated here have the same functionality, but their corresponding shortcut keys are completely different. Through Vimo Rebinder, we can unify shortcut keys based on functionality, not only reducing the memory burden but also helping us maintain keystroke habits. So, how can we make the keystroke process more natural and smooth? Let's analyze it from the perspective of keyboard layout. The hands are in a relaxed position at the center of the keyboard. At this point, our index fingers rest on the letters F and J. The most easily accessible letter keys are those on the same row as F and J but towards the outer edges. Furthermore, without moving the index fingers, the next most accessible keys are located one row above and towards the outer edges. In these two areas, we can set up the primary commonly used rebind shortcuts. Additionally, this principle applies to the lower area of the keyboard, as dictated by the hand structure. In contrast, the keys below the index fingers are less easily accessible, so we can assign some less frequently used rebind shortcuts to them. Keys that require extra movement of the index fingers are the least easily accessible. So, how can we benefit from these less convenient keys? Firstly, we can assign some less frequently used rebind shortcuts to them. Secondly, for shortcuts that are useful but need to be avoided from accidental triggering, such as escape, close window or tab, or close app. Let's return to the keyboard layout we just discussed. For example, escape can be set to press G key twice. Since accidentally closing the current window or tab is much worse than accidentally triggering escape, we can separate the rebind key into two letters. This is solely for preventing accidental triggering. If we want to close multiple windows, we can utilize the repeater key to achieve it. Lastly, let's discuss the number of rebind keys. Generally, rebind shortcuts could consist of a two-key combination. This isn't the only option. It can also be a single key, or more keys in combination. A handy shortcut fully balances its convenience and grouping capacity. Single-key rebinds are the most convenient, but they lose the capability to group shortcuts. So, they are usually used for the most frequently or repeatedly used shortcuts or to mimic traditional shortcuts. As for combinations of two rebind keys, they typically yield a large enough capacity for storing shortcuts. Coupled with the convenience provided by the repeater key, this option is the recommended practice. 3 or more key combinations are only for special needs. By optimizing shortcuts, it is not just saving time, but also enhancing the productivity. So, let's streamline our keystrokes and make every interaction with our devices smoother and more efficient. Vimo Rebinder. Smooth your operation.